Why do we drink so much in the West? Is that just a cultural thing? Here in the Western world, we drink a lot. And it steals our lives. Let's go up here. There's plenty of places in the world where alcohol doesn't really count like it does in the West. All the Muslim countries, they don't have alcohol in their diet. Native peoples like the Aborigines in Australia, as I understand it, a very, very low tolerance for alcohol. A white man goes over there, introduces them to alcohol, and then they sit around, they can't move, because they don't have any tolerance for it. Alcohol is a poison. What a view. Check this out. If I had a hangover right now, I probably couldn't make it up here to see that, but I don't, so I can, and it is worth it. I'm in my mid-50s, and I'm probably fitter than I've ever been in my life, quite honestly. It's crazy when I think of it like that. But yeah, I am. I'm not out of breath. Just walked up some pretty damn steep hills there. I feel absolutely fine. I was lucky because if I'd have carried on boozing the way I used to years ago, who knows what would have happened, eh? I might not be in this great condition. I might have just chosen the wrong path and ended up in a bit of a mess. Or, who knows, I might have just about managed it and got away with it. I never had any vast problems with alcohol, nothing drastic. However, I was aware that I didn't want to continue on the path that I was going. So maybe I'll take that path, I thought. See if it leads somewhere better. I think like a lot of men in my age, in my teenage years, we experimented with drink, you know, that's what you do. Get together with your teenage mates, you raid your drinks cabinet at home, throw things together, a little bit of whiskey, a little bit of vodka, a little bit of brandy or whatever's going. And you start to get yourself a little bit sozzled with your friends, you have some laughs, and it's all good fun, isn't it? Yeah, you have a great time and you want to do it again the following week or something. But you can't carry on like that. So as you progress in life, you get a little bit of money, and you're able to just go out and buy your own drink and have your own entertainment. I'm finding some spectacular sights today. I love seeking out new walks, new areas, new places, new tracks, using apps like All Trails and that. It's fantastic. It brings you to places like this, and it takes you on little paths that you wouldn't ever find without it. I'm out here today seeking out new routes. I'm talking about the potential dangers and problems of alcohol and why I realized it just in time and got out of it. Let's get into that. Before I go too much further on this, I'm not an expert, I'm not an alcohol counsellor or anything like that. This is just my views, my thoughts on alcohol and why it was a good idea for me to stop really using it or greatly reduce how much I used it. And there is a difference. Oh, this just gets better and better. Look at that. Love this. Like a lot of teens, I found myself drinking at that age with groups of friends, hanging out. And I didn't know many of my groups of friends and peers at that time who weren't drinking. Pretty much everybody was. And the small group I was with, we used to drink cider. Whew. Thursday or Friday night, 2-litre bottle. And drink the whole lot in the course of a couple of hours. But you know, that got us pissed for the evening, cheap, and then caused chaos the rest of the night. You don't know what to do with yourself at that age, really, do you? So you do whatever the norm seems to be. And because of probably too many years of that sort of thing, I can barely touch the stuff now. There was another drink I did a similar problem with, Southern Comfort. Those two will turn me now. What will turn you? There's bound to be something. If I was anywhere in the world, I could never walk up to this point and turn around. I would have to know what's on the other side of this hill. So let's go and find out. Oh, a massive spire in the distance, and a little valley and a little village just down below. I bloody love making these films. Getting out here, talking, being in nature, discovering new things, and talking about things that shaped my life and things that might help and encourage some others to shape their lives a little bit. Oh, this is the best. Check my notes a minute here. Drinking with friends in college. So as you get a bit older, you get past that teenage age, maybe you get a part-time job. In my case, you get a little bit of income. You can drink with your friends and mates in college and stuff like that. And you find yourself going out more to pubs and clubs and parties and what have you. So when you get a car and you get a bit older, you just carry on with the drinking thing. You know, and it doesn't seem bad because you're young and youthful and it doesn't really matter. You can wake up with a hangover, laugh it off, call your mates, talk to them about it, how bad was their hangover. It all seems perfectly normal. You know, but how long is that going to go on? In my case, 10 years or so. Probably more. Maybe not the most flattering of angles, that one. Ooh, relationships. Tumultuous, changeable. But I added alcohol into the mix. And I started to behave a little bit differently at times, you know, as you do when you're out in clubs and bars and things like that. If somebody's talking to your friends and maybe you don't like it, normally that might be okay, might be manageable. But add a few drinks into the mix and your sort of tolerance levels come down. You become more irritable. And in my case, it didn't result in anything horrific, but maybe in a lot of people's cases, it can result in violence. It took me a long time to pick up on things like that. But it didn't change anything because drinking and going out and partying and doing everything with friends is just what you do. That's normal. And if you don't do that, you're a weirdo. It's difficult to be different when you're trying to fit in, at least. I was kind of aware of that side of me. I knew that my tolerance levels were greatly reduced after a few beers. If there was any sort of slight issues or problems in the relationship or in a situation, then I would be quicker to react to it rather than being more measured. But I didn't want to do anything about it because I still wanted to fit in. That was more important, that I was still seen as one of the boys, one of the lads going out, having a good time. Because alcohol obviously greatly exaggerates your personality, doesn't it? Sort of turns everything up to 8, 9, 10. So I didn't want to be left out of that. So I carried on. I was always aware and I always knew that I would never turn to alcohol when I was depressed or down over something. I'm talking about relationship breakups and that sort of stuff, yeah? We'll go through it, you know, it's the end of the world, isn't it, when you're young? You go through relationship breakups, the end of the world. I always found some other thing to turn to. There was no one specific thing. I would go on walks, I would go places, I would, I don't know, do other stuff. I always knew that that was just going to be a slippery slope. Because if you look ahead to your future, you're going to come across loads of problems, right? It's bound to happen. You're in your early 20s. You've got a whole life ahead of you. There's problems you're going to come across them every couple of weeks probably. And if your solution is to have a beer or go drinking every time you hit a problem, that's going to be a lot of drinks down the road, isn't it? So somehow I knew that. So I never drunk over problems and I never drunk at home just for the sake of it. What am I going to do? Sit in my little flat or my house on my own, drinking, and then go to bed, wake up feeling crap? Nah. A couple of rules I laid down early and they seem to have worked. So around the same time, I started to get a bit fitter, but then I got more into fitness, a little bit more. And I realized that if I wanted to do this thing on the weekend, this event or something, or some sort of run or something, I needed to get up early to do it. Events start early. And I thought, there's no way I'm going out tonight. There's no way I'm going out on Saturday night because Sunday I've got this huge long ride or something. And slowly, all these things started to come together where I realized that there's no way that I could keep up going out, staying up late, drinking and partying, and still being able to do the fitness and the health side of things that I was now getting more interested in. Sort of almost organically and naturally, one of them had to give. And I knew which one was going to give. I can't keep that up and do the fitness stuff at the same time. I think when life's going great, you don't mind maybe having a hangover on a Sunday and your day just being lounging around on a Sunday, you know. But if you start getting to that stage where you don't like your job and you're not looking forward to going, I wanted every minute of that weekend time off to be quality. And waking up with a hangover, say on either Saturday or Sunday or whenever it was, meant that most of that day was spent wallowing, lethargic, having no energy, hardly able to move. And that wasn't a quality weekend then, was it? I'm back in work in a few hours, going to bed again. And that whole day has been a write-off.
And eventually I started to realise that this is no life. Weekends are short, man. They're your weekends. They're your time to do with what you want. And laying on a sofa doing bugger all is not what I wanted to do with it. What I wanted to do was get myself out, places like this maybe, or go out cycling. I did not want to be cooped up on a sofa feeling sorry for myself with a headache. So I reduced my intake. Don't like wasting a Sunday or a weekend day of my time just lounging around wasting my time. So bit by bit I started to reduce it, and I started to increase my physical training, my exercise, my gym work, my cycling, my running and stuff like that. Bit by bit. Running was a new thing. I got that into my life 10 years ago now. It forced out the alcohol as the fitness and the health took over and took its place. It's genius, really. Plus, I'm nowhere near as irritable. And there were real beneficial effects to all of this as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. When you greatly reduce your alcohol intake, you start to notice other things happening in life. And some of those other things you start to notice in yourself. You start to become aware of things within your body. And what I mean by that is when you're not waking up with hangovers or you haven't got alcohol in your system so much, you become more finely tuned to your body and you can listen to it more and you can understand its problems a little bit more. If I do have a little niggle or a little problem or something here and there, I'm much more in tune with it. You know, my guts are not feeling quite right today. Well, I can't blame alcohol. Didn't have any. Haven't had any for a couple of weeks. You just notice them because there's no alcohol to blame it on. You can't just say, oh yeah, just a bit run down, had a skinful last night. So it must be something else. And you get to tune into that stuff. Basically, you get more in tune with your body. You can pinpoint things when you're not at your best a lot better than when you're on alcohol. I reckon if I'd have carried on drinking at the pace I was in my 20s and 30s, there's probably not a hope in hell that I would have made it up to the top of this hill today. I probably would have had more poison in my system that would have stopped me leaving the house. Maybe I would have had a big fat pot belly or something full of booze. I'll never really know the answer to that. But I bet there are people out there who somehow have taken in too much alcohol over the years and just let their lifestyle run away with them on the wrong course and have just no interest in getting out and about in nature now. They've just perhaps given up. Well, if that maybe is someone like you, or you think you might be going that way, you have a chance of pulling that back. Reduce the amount. Just take it away slowly. Reintroduce positivity into your life, positive actions, a little bit more fitness, maybe do some walks, get out and about. Change your lifestyle and don't be afraid of what people think of you. If you're not going out with your mates and you're not boozing with them anymore, it's not the end of the world. Let them think what they want. Replace it with something positive. Go for a walk, do something else. And you can turn it around. You can change it. You can. And you can be 50, 60, 70 maybe, and still living a full and phenomenal life. But if you carry on down the wrong path, maybe you want to have that chance. You've literally got nothing to lose. I am really curious to know if any of you have had any other similar type relationships with alcohol. Any realizations, any sort of wake-up calls, any moments that made you think, oh, this is stupid, I've got to stop this. Or maybe have you had a different type of relationship with alcohol? Have you always had a more balanced one? Have you found that you can strike a balance between, having a drink now and again with friends and still being sociable and maybe still keeping your health and fitness routines and it doesn't interrupt too much? Are you one of those? Or are you somebody that could see that you were going down the wrong path and you managed to pull yourself back somehow? You became self-aware and thinking, hang on, what the hell am I doing? This is nuts. This is going the wrong way. Let me know in the comments below, please. I would love to have more information on this. I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable where I am with it, but I would like to hear some positive stories of some of you out there.
There's an old boy. I would guess he is 70, looking at him. Spring in his step, heading towards the stile. I bet he didn't have 10 pints last night. I want to be like this bloke. 70 years old, hat on my head, backpack on, walking through the hills, admiring the view. This might not be everybody's idea of a dream, walking in the hills, but you can have your equivalent of it, wherever it might be. Be like him. Well, that seemed like a very fitting place to end that one. Watching our friend there, up on the hills, in his 70s, out for a walk, enjoying the great weather. just wanted to say a little bit about alcoholism, my relationship with it, and that maybe it'll touch some of you and you can relate to it. And if you want to drop some comments down below and leave me some thoughts and your philosophies on it, maybe that'd be good to hear. Alcohol is a poison. It will slow you down. It will enhance your life in your mind, but in the long term, it will actually diminish it and reduce your quality of life. There is a balance to be had though, and you can find that, and it can be done. I believe that. That's my belief. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you in the next one with some more thoughts and philosophies straight off the top of my dome. See you next time. In the meantime, let's have one last look at this spectacular view.